the Dirty Sports Podcast. I said, welcome to the Dirty Sports Podcast with Andy, Ruther, and Praino. Welcome to the Dirty Sports Podcast.
Welcome to the Dirty Sports Podcast. I'm your host, Andy Ruther, coming to you live from Cincinnati, Ohio, with my co-host from Port Hueneme, California, Joey No Chill Praino.
Hello, Andy.
Happy Friday, man.
Happy Friday.
What you got?
I mean, it's Friday. What are we doing here? I just told you before the show, it's like a little bit stressed out today. It's almost noon. I was like, maybe I have a beer. And then I was like, no, that's a bit aggressive. All right, you're a little stressed out today. That's still a little bit aggressive. And then you just reminded me, it is not the usual Thursday show. It's Friday.
Yeah.
Now I don't even feel bad about it. I don't even feel a little bit bad about having a beer anymore.
I smoked some meth before the show. Let's go.
Let's go.
You know what I've been drinking lately, actually? THC seltzers.
Whoa, Andy. How many milligrams are there in a can of THC seltzer?
So the place that I get them at, either 2.5 or 5. So I'm lit, fam.
You've been getting the 2.5s?
I had 2 to 2.5 last Friday. They're margarita flavored. They're actually really good. Like, they're really good. And you know, with all that being legal, I don't really understand how it works, but there's a place that sells them by me, and they taste really good. And it's, you know, it's basically edibles. It's the same high.
Right.
But I like it's different. You'd probably agree with this. It's a different feeling when you're like, oh, I'm having a drink now.
Yeah.
As someone who doesn't drink anymore, I'm having a drink for my high. And I'm just like last Friday, I was like, oh, I'm relaxing at the house with the lady and we're watching a movie. And I'm just, you know, it's like the old days. I'm having a drink, but I'm also going to get a little buzz.
I got to say, there's a couple of, I've seen recently, one of my friends, I think, is like working with them or sponsored by them or whatever. There's a couple of non-alcoholic beer THC drinks. And I'm like, I mean, now you're just drinking again, basically.
It's true.
It's just like, hey, I drink this thing that tastes like beer and I get a buzz.
Yeah. Well, that's basically what this is. But with like, again, they would call it probably like, it'd be equivalent to, I don't know, like a seltzer drink, but way better.
Yeah.
Like it's 60 calories.
Wasting away again in fake THC Margaritaville.
But you know how I discovered this was my buddy's wife. I was over at my buddy's place when we were actually watching the national championship, and his wife gave me some because she was at a bar in Cincinnati, and she's like, "Do you got anything non-alcoholic?" And she has the
bars.
It's all confusing, I know. But the best part is
that's the most that's the craziest thing I've heard so far.
I feel like it turned kind of quickly has turned into Wild West out here, which I love. Yeah. And anyway, she has this. It's called Floral is the brand. Floral Margarita is the flavor. She's like, I have the drink.
You give me one THC margarita and I open my legs.
And she's like 45 minutes later, she's like I have the same feelings when I take an edible. And she asked the waitress, she's like, what was in that? She's like, oh, it's THC. She's like, you probably should have told me.
Yeah.
You know, not that it's that much, but she's like, you probably should have told me. You just gave me a drink with THC. And then she gave me she's like, oh, I kind of liked them. So she picked up a few and she goes, here, take a couple home. And then I ended up buying them. The problem is they're so expensive.
Really?
So I bought a 4-pack and a 6-pack. So I bought 10 with tax, $41.
Oh, that's way less than I thought you were going to tell me. I mean, and those were all 2.5s, or
No, the 6-pack was 5 milligrams.
okay. So you're looking at basically $4 a can.
Yeah, $4 a can.
It's not that expensive.
If you compared it to edibles, it would be.
Yeah. Sure.
I'm saying you get a can of gummies 5 milligrams for like $25. That's like
Yeah.
20 of them in there.
Yeah.
Dude, I'm in the Midwest. $40 for a 10-pack. That is expensive. At California, it'd be whatever. But yeah, I'm digging them. I have to crack one open tonight.
You give me one THC margarita, and I open this Dorito bag.
Yeah. I wonder how they're going to do this with testing. Like, what are they doing right now with testing with the pro sports leagues and THC?
No idea.
Now that it's legal basically in half the country.
I think most of the leagues aren't weed testing, right?
I don't think so, right? Yeah, I don't think they are.
I think the NFL was like last man standing there for a minute, right?
They always are.
Yeah.
So I asked you something the other day, or I said something I wanted to talk about off air, which I forgot to bring up. Do you think Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce had sex the night of the Super Bowl?
First of all, I just want to apologize to my girlfriend in advance before we get into this conversation. I'm just kidding. She doesn't give a fuck. But the last time we talked about Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce having sex on this podcast, and we put it up on TikTok, a bunch of femcel women were like, "How dare you?"
We didn't even talk about Taylor Swift. She wasn't even mentioned.
I know, it's so funny, and we talked about that too. That just like even being around the world of Taylor Swift is triggering them. So, your question is, did Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift have sex the night of the Super Bowl?
So this is why I thought of this. I thought of it for one reason, because they allegedly were partying till 5 a.m. And to me, it's reminiscent of, we've all been there with like a girl, if you're going to a wedding or something where you're partying all night, a lot of times you just drink until you pass out, basically.
I'm saying hard no.
I agree.
I'm saying a hard no for a number of reasons. One, they partied till 5 a.m. 2, she had just taken her F-14, like her fucking, Blue Angels, fucking 10 fighter jets from Tokyo. So probably jet lagged a little bit, probably pretty tired. And then the third reason, and I think this is really the key, is Taylor Swift does not seem like the kind of girl who has a drunk quickie at the end of the night. She seems like a girl who travels with an eye mask and a white noise machine, and had a security team take their own private jet to the roof of the casino they were staying in to come down and take her shoes off for her before she went to bed. She doesn't seem like the kind of girl that gets into a hotel room at 5 a.m., just throws off her clothes, bangs, and goes to sleep in a wet mess.
Yeah, I agree.
I mean, you and I have both, we're old enough now. Essentially, all of our friends are married. And we all know people. It's like, on your wedding night, that's like the cliche thing. Like, we consummate our marriage on our wedding night. Like, I would say at least 50% of my friends were like, dude, we were so drunk and tired. Just the whole thing. Like,
yeah.
we didn't have sex the night of our wedding.
Yeah.
Like, we had sex on our honeymoon, but like the whole day with the makeup and the pictures and the families and the things, like, we just went to bed. And I mean, the Super Bowl is like a wedding on steroids with the pictures and the press conference and the.
And that's why I thought of it. I was like, because I agree. I was like, I don't know. There's no way they had sex.
And there's no way they did like a bathroom at the club quickie. I don't think Taylor Swift's that person either.
Now his ex
had sex with Jackson Mahomes in the bathroom of the club that night.
I was going to say he would with his ex. Mahomes probably did some
Yeah.
dude that night.
Yeah. Well, didn't you see there was like video and pictures of like Jackson Mahomes talking to Travis Kelce's ex in Vegas?
Oh, there was.
Like, what is that about?
He wants makeup tips? I don't know.
Yeah.
Is anybody talking about, like, I feel like a lot of people are talking like he's clearly gay, right? Like,
we need to talk about something else we didn't talk about from the Super Bowl that I had on the list of things, but we didn't. This Gatorade situation. I predicted no Gatorade. And then, 20 minutes after the game ended, I tweeted Dirty Sports, like, no Gatorade. Andy Reid's still dry. And then, like, 2 minutes later, right before he goes up to the podium, they hit him with the purple. So then purple hit, and purple got paid. And I'm like, well, does that fucking count? Like, what if they hadn't done it then and they had done it the next day when he was at the club eating barbecue or whatever? If they had hit him up, would then purple still have paid? Like, when does the time limit on fucking the Gatorade? Because, like, the no Gatorade call, it was a value play, but looked like it hit for a minute. At what point are we no longer Gatorade dumping for this? Like, does that bet change if they hit him with Gatorade again today? How long after this game is the Gatorade fucking hitting?
So they waited till before the podium?
Yeah. It was like 20 minutes after the game ended.
That's odd. It's almost a conspiracy theory.
That feels like a no Gatorade. Yeah, it feels like they were like, yo, Vegas needs you to hit him. It feels like they mixed up some purple Gatorade after the game. Like the fucking Caesars called in. They're like, the least amount of things bet were purple. Can you guys just mix up a purple Gatorade and hit them right now? You talk about the rigged game. How about the rigged purple Gatorade bet?
The odds weren't that high for Gatorade, were they?
For what?
I'm sorry, for purple.
No, they weren't that high because it was in the color of everybody's these things, the Super Bowl logo, blah blah blah.
Oh, I know. The conspiracies that was going to be the Ravens and the Niners because of the blue and because of the purple and red.
Let me tell you another thing when it comes to the Super Bowl logo, Andy. And I'm just to float this out there. This is information for you. This is also information for the dirt balls. I'm going to let you receive. You don't have to have a response because a year from now is very, very far away. Who knows where we'll be? Isla will be almost 2. You'll be the CMO of Gold Star at that point. Like, the world could be a totally different place. But next year, the Super Bowl is in New Orleans. I have already been like, yo, we should probably run back some Dirty Sports in New Orleans for the Super Bowl to Comedy House New Orleans. And they responded 100.
Oh, that's how they responded, 100.
Our boy Chris True was like, let's make this happen. Dirty Sports goes to the Super Bowl?
I'm pulling up the logo. So which team is this? It's like a green
and yellow.
It looks red.
Packers versus Chiefs.
It's more of like a Seahawks kind of color.
Yeah. But also, isn't this like, haven't we ruined this conspiracy theory because no team with purple was in the Super Bowl?
I think they should have dumped purple drink on Andy Reid. That would have been some lean. That would have been some crazy odds. I want to see Andy Reid odd lean, to be honest. Maybe it'll lean him out a little too.
How the Chiefs don't, I know Gatorade is a longtime NFL sponsor, but how the Chiefs don't, for their team, fill that shit with Kool-Aid and dump red Kool-Aid on him and then let Andy Reid do a bust through the wall Kool-Aid man commercial. I mean, talk about like, I'm no marketing fucking director, but like, goddamn Kool-Aid. He is the Kool-Aid man. He's walking around the side. He's a giant fat man in a red outfit walking the sidelines.
Yeah, that would be great. That would be perfect. Dude, I saw a couple of stats on I saw a couple Mahomes stats. I don't know if you saw these. These are like the classic, why would you ever bet against Mahomes? Listen to these stats. Speaking of the Super Bowl. So the first one is record of quarterbacks trailing by 10 or more in the Super Bowl history. Mahomes is 3-1 when trailing by 10 or more points in Super Bowl history.
He was down
Brady's
10
2
points in every Super Bowl.
That's insane. Brady is 2-1, and all the other QBs are 2-47.
It's wild.
Oh, but this next one's even crazier. In the last 5 years in the playoffs, Mahomes' record when trailing by 10 or more points is 5-1. The rest of the NFL QBs is 6-48.
In how long?
The last 5 years.
Yeah, so basically as long as Mahomes has been in the league.
Basically, a double-digit lead on the Chiefs in the playoffs means absolutely nothing.
Now, I want to ask you something because I saw an interesting thing the other day. We talked about Shanahan and this, the 49ers, and now they've been there with two different quarterbacks, and they've got the roster, and haven't gotten over the hump, and it's like, can this team win a Super Bowl, blah, 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 blah. And I saw a very great thing, which was essentially Shanahan is Andy Reid pre-Mahomes.
Oh,
I know
100%.
I know we're like everybody's on Andy Reid is one of the great coaches in the league, and he's a Hall of Famer, and there's no doubt he's a Hall of Famer. That's not a question. And this isn't even as much. I feel like a lot of those posts were in defense of Shanahan, as opposed to being like, but I think those are more almost Andy Reid truther posts than they are Shanahan defense posts. Like, the truth is, Andy Reid now has 3 Super Bowls, and he was like, the Andy Reid question marks have gone out the window since the arrival of Patrick Mahomes, who does all those things that you just talked about. Come back from 10 points in the Super Bowl, come back from double digit in the playoffs. It's like all that shit. He wasn't doing that shit before Patrick Mahomes. Like, it really feels like the conversation that we had in the sports media about Brady versus Belichick and who was more responsible and all that stuff feels like the like Bucks Super Bowl. Everybody wanted to say, see, it was Brady all along. And it's like, listen, and I'll say this to the day I die. No, there's no argument that Tom Brady is one of the smartest football players of all time. The Bucks were not chosen because he really wanted to live in Tampa, Florida. He went roster by roster and picked a team that was ready to win, a team with a fucking good defense, a team with a good offensive line, a team with a running game, a team with weapons. He chose the Bucks because the Bucks were ready to win the Super Bowl. The Belichick Brady conversation, I know everybody thinks that was solved with that. I think that's still very much a discussion. There is no discussion about Reid and Patrick Mahomes. Reid wasn't doing it before Mahomes.
Well, I'm going to counter that, though. And I agree. And I've seen what you're talking about. Basically, Kyle Shanahan is like a skinny Andy Reid. But what great coaches, if we look throughout the history of the NFL, didn't have a really good quarterback for the most part, right?
Bill Parcells? Phil Simms is a good quarterback. He's not in the, like, no one's like, how far down the list of all timers do you have to go before you get to Phil Simms?
Yeah.
Hostetler won a Super Bowl.
Sure. But I think most of them do.
That's a 2-title team.
Okay. Well, I'm saying, like, Bill Walsh obviously had Joe Montana. Chuck Noll, it was a little different. Chuck Noll had what? Terry Bradshaw, Don Shula. I don't know how to rate Greasy, but of course, he gets tons of wins with Marino in the regular season. Hall of Famer. My point is, I think a lot of these great coaches they do have really good quarterbacks. I mean, I think Andy Reid's a good coach, but of course, yeah, Patrick Mahomes makes anybody's job easier. I mean, he's just that good. And again, like until he goes anywhere.
I almost think that this transitions nicely into kind of like the Lamar Jackson conversation again, because I mean, look at John Harbaugh. John Harbaugh has done it with two different quarterbacks in terms of getting you to the playoffs regularly, being a 1 seed, whatever, wins a Super Bowl with Flacco, whatever. And now it's, oh, we're not going to stand Lamar Jackson. And I'm like, did we stand Flacco? Like the whole conversation was, is Flacco elite? Is Flacco elite? Is Flacco elite? And he gets there, they win a Super Bowl. Now he's doing it again with Lamar Jackson. Like, you're not giving Lamar Jackson his due. It's like, you look at Lamar Jackson, Flacco, the Ravens, when it crosses over to different quarterbacks, you got to at some point say, hey, there's probably more coach than quarterback here.
Yeah. Well, look, my feelings on Lamar Jackson, and his stands are pretty ride or die. I did see an interesting. It's not spot on, but I saw an interesting side by side on Reddit. It was I'm forgetting his name. He quarterbacked the Giants a couple games this year.
Tyrod Taylor. Tommy DeVito.
It was Tyrod Taylor's Bills season when they made the playoffs the first time in a long time versus Lamar's this year, the stats. And again, Lamar beat him in the stats, but they were like they were in the same like sphere. And then they of course listed the defense, and I was like, with rushing yards, with passing yards, and I was like, pretty interesting. But like I've come to the conclusion at this point, NFL fans are the most ridiculous, and I think the fanboyness of NFL fans, it goes to a degree that yesterday when I was getting a haircut, I don't know what happened when we started talking Bengals. And basically my haircut ended and it got really awkward at my barbershop with the guy cutting my hair. As I walked out, he was legit angry at me.
At you?
Angry.
Because he's a Bengals fan.
Die hard. And I literally got in my car. I was like, what? It was like a scene out of a movie. I go, what?
You know what's so funny? You know what's so funny about the difference between you and I? I will spend 20 hours a fucking day having these conversations on the internet. And when people do it to me in person, when like Jordan LeBron comes up to me when it's a strange, like I'll do it with my friends. Our boy Ben Goldsmith called me the other day and he was like, tell me why Kobe's not top 5. And I was like, all right, sit down, buckle up. I'm about to fucking tell you why he's not top 12. And this was the day of Kobe's like statue thing. And he was like, he's like, at the end, he's like, I understand. I'm a fan. I grew up watching him, but I understand everything you're saying. But like, I'll have conversations with people and they'll be like, Kobe. And I'll be like, you don't want to do this. Like, I'm not going to do this with you because this is like, you're going to leave. And so I'll just like, be like, I can't because you're not like, sometimes I'm just like, you don't have the bandwidth to be able to take all of the things I'm going to tell you. And I know it's going to trigger you. So we're not going to do it. But I've seen you do it.
So that's what happened.
You're just like strangers will be talking. You'll be like,
no, but that wasn't straight. Yeah, no. And you're right. I'd rather do it in person. And I have, and I know it's annoyed like my brother at times, like when we were at dinner, he's like, dude, shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up. Like that actually happened recently in the last year. The waiter was the same thing. LeBron was brought up. My brother's like, shut up. Stop. You're fucking throwing stats at our waiter, dude. Like, what are you doing? Just fucking eat your steak. But you know, whatever. I'm getting my hair cut. And of course, this is like a local barbershop. I've gone through my whole life. You know, they all do a fine job cutting my hair. As far as like I grew up at this local barbershop. And of course, whatever. Fucking ESPN's on the TV. And they're talking, most of the analysts are saying they think Burrow's the only one who like XYZ can compete against Mahomes. And I agree. And like, so he's like, what do you think? And I was like, I agree. I was like, he's 3-1 against him. And I know it's not quarterback versus quarterback, but I was like, and he won a playoff game. And I said, that's not all I got to start. I go, him and Josh Allen are the only AFC QBs that have actually 500 or good or better records against Mahomes. But the difference is Burrow's won a playoff. Burrow's 1-1 in the playoffs against the Chiefs. So I was like, yo, man, I think if Burrow's healthy, I always give the Bengals a shot because of him. And I think all that stuff. And then this is where it all went downhill. I said, but he's injury prone. No, he's not. Okay, dude. I said he missed 14 games. Brady missed an entire season. I go, yeah, what about his other 19? Played 20 years. And this guy's, he's starting to get worked up. I said, dude, I love Burrow. And you know where he got even more triggered? He defended Mixon and he goes, he rushed for 1,000 yards. I go, dude, they play 17 games. This isn't fucking 1990. And again, you're right. I think that I know too many stats. It pisses people off. I go, he had one 100-yard rushing game in 17 games. He's not good, dude. He's washed. They should
and also he's like, he's fine, but he's not like he's no one to be standing for.
Yeah, exactly. And I was making the case that the guy they drafted, Chase Brown, I was like, I think he's could have potential to be really good, and he's fast, and he had some good games. And then it starts going downhill there. And then I said, look, dude, my opinion is they don't make another Super Bowl unless Taylor's their coach. And he's like, you know what you're talking about? He's like, they made a Super Bowl, they made an AFC Championship game. I go, yeah, Lamar was hurt both those years, and Lamar can get hurt. I go, dude, he's 10-20 against the AFC North. The easiest path to the Super Bowl, the Chiefs always made the Super Bowl because they always win their division. So he got really triggered when he's like, then who the fuck's your team? And I was like, we can do this? I go, look, man.
I mean, technically the Seahawks, Patriots, Rams, Chargers, Bengals, whoever Tom Brady's playing for, but you know.
He goes, you don't even watch the games. So this is literally why he's cutting my hair. He's like, you don't even watch the games. I go, actually, I watch every single game, dude. I've watched every single Bengals game. I have Sunday ticket. He's like, no, you're just a red zone guy. I go, red zone. I was like, no. And then of course I'm not letting him know about dirty sports or whatever. And he's like, what are you, the NFL scout? And I was like, look, man, I'm just telling you, he's like, the Bengals are going to be totally fine. I go, dude, they could be. They have a lot of holes. They had a lot of holes defensively. And I love their defensive coordinator. I think he's a great coach. They have a lot of holes. And then he's like, okay, you're done. That'll be $21. And then I stand up and I hand him the money and I throw him a few bucks, like tip. And he goes, bye, next. And I'm like leaving the door. And I go, dude, are you this butthurt? He's like, bye. You don't know what you're talking about. Bye. And I got in my car and I was like, did this just happen in my barbershop? And it's like, dude, you're such an idiot. I will never, ever let you cut my hair again. In fact, the next time I go there, because I'm not going to stop going there, I'm be like, no, man, you can't cut my hair because you can't handle a sports discussion. Because I think I also told him, I go, dude, you're a fan who just drinks the Kool-Aid that everything's perfect. And that's not how I view things as a sports guy. Like every team has
you should just next time you should be like, I can't go with him because he, like Joe Burrow, couldn't even make it through an entire haircut last time I was here. Seems like he's a little butt hurt prone. I need somebody who shows up to play every week.
He goes, oh, so you're a Joe Burrow fan, but you're not a fan of the team? I was like, dude, I like good quarterbacks. Yeah. I like Mahomes. I like Burrow. I like whoever's good. I like to watch good quarterbacks.
But the truth is, you are a fan of the team. You're just a realistic fan of the team. That's the same thing, dude. I go through it all the time with Mets fans and Knicks fans and Giants fans and whatever. It's like, I know on this show, everybody likes to fucking, oh, you're a homer this, you're a homer that. It's like, the truth is, like, I'm not quick to diehard fans, crazy Kool-Aid drinking fans. They're so quick to ride when it's good, and they're so quick to bail when it's bad. That's why everybody on this show, like, I know the fucking punchline of the year is like, oh, you're a Giants homer, you love Daniel Jones. It's like, no, it's actually the opposite. A true Giants homer would have thrown him under the bus already. Oh, we're not winning because of him. We could be good, but we need a new quarterback. It's like, it's not that simple, guys. It's just not that simple. Like, it's a very elementary way of looking at these things, which I don't do. It's like, the Bengals are going to be fine. We made it to a Super Bowl. Yeah, dude. Okay. The Bills made it to 4. How many Super Bowls do they have? Like, the Niners made it to the Super Bowl every fucking year at this point. They also don't beat Patrick Mahomes. Like, what the fuck are we talking about? So it goes both ways. It's like, the casual fan that is a diehard is going to stand the guy who does well and blame the guy who does bad, when it's just not that simple. It's just not that fucking simple.
And also, as you and I always talk about, it's like, unless you're the Chiefs or the Patriots, the last 2 dynasties or whatever, everything changes year to year. Exactly. The notion that, oh, they made it to a Super Bowl, then an AFC Championship, dude, that was a couple years ago. I don't really give a shit. And good franchises make it work, but now even the Niners, we got to bring up them firing Steve Wilkes. It's like, I think that's such a bad overreaction. And to be honest, I kind of hope that the backfire. Like, Shanahan's a little bitch for that, in my opinion.
What's crazy is, like, it's an overreaction to what? Like, that's my issue with it, is you gave up 1 touchdown in the Super Bowl to Patrick Mahomes in regulation. You have 1 touchdown. A Patrick Mahomes led team scored 1 touchdown in regulation against your defense, and you fired your defensive coordinator. So there's 2 things, and we can talk about them one at a time, or we can talk about them together, but there's 2 horrific Shanahan things happening simultaneously. 1, you're scapegoating your defensive coordinator. The defense, which was suspect for the end of the regular season and the playoffs, shows up in the Super Bowl. Yeah. The offense, which is what carried your team the whole year, doesn't. And you fire your defensive coordinator, and you have all these weapons. And yeah, Brock Purdy played pretty well, and Christian McCaffrey played pretty well, and Jennings had the game of his life. But we talk about how hard this team is to beat because of all their weapons. What did Ayuk do? What did Debo do? What did Kittle do? Those are the 3 other guys with McCaffrey who are you're unstoppable because you have so many weapons. What did they do? You did not get your playmakers the ball in the Super Bowl. Facts. Facts only, as Andy Ruther would say. And then now we have this horrific, like this again. We'll talk about how people reacted to me versus what the truth is. I know I quit Reddit because everybody said you're a fucking woke liberal and you're pissed off that Aaron Rodgers didn't get vaxxed. I don't give a fuck, dude. I give a fuck that he's a liar. He's a liar. Shanahan is lying that they wanted the ball 3rd. He's lying. It took you 72 hours to come up with this excuse that you took the ball 1st because you wanted it 3rd with a chance to win. Dude, you are lying. It's a fucking lie. The end. You're a liar. And now you're fucking embarrassing yourself. Take the fucking L, dude. Your whole team said you guys didn't go over fucking overtime shit. Your whole team said it. Your whole fucking team said it. And now the analytics. I talked to the analytics boys and they said we want it third. And you didn't tell your team that? You didn't. Andy Reid's been doing this every fucking week or whatever. And you aren't telling your team that? And now they're answering questions like, that's not what happened. And 3 days later, the best thing you could come up with was, we wanted a third. You're lying, dude. And you're lying and you're scapegoating your defensive coordinator. Fucking lame.
You know, the side-by-side stats, that's what's crazy. Now, the defense wasn't playing well, exactly, until the Super Bowl. And they did play well. If you pull them up side by side, it's insane. The defense actually did better statistically this year under Steve Wilkes than the 2 seasons with D'Amico Ryans. Better points per game, better opponents' yards per game, and slightly better takeaways per game. So statistically, the defense actually improved this year than the previous 2 seasons, and then they fire him. Now, they didn't play that well against Green Bay. They didn't play that well against Detroit. You have one
But you
touchdown
got
in the
there.
Super Bowl. Yeah, you got
You
there.
have a one touchdown in the Super Bowl in regulation.
I think that's going to come back to bite them, man.
Back to back, those 2 things back to back, Shanahan scapegoating a defensive coordinator and Shanahan lying about the overtime thing. Dude, like, I think that could come back to bite him in more ways than just, you're saying it's going to come back to bite them to fire Wilkes. Like, maybe whoever they hire doesn't do as good a job. I think
but I also think the locker room.
Yeah. Those 2 things back to back, I think it comes back to bite them. It's like, yo, our coach is a liar and our coach is ready to throw whoever under the bus to save him.
Yeah.
You don't think the guys in the locker room know you're on TV lying about this overtime thing? You're just lying?
Yeah.
Yo, coach is a liar.
But also, I would probably bet that a lot of those guys on the defensive side of the ball had their coaches back. And then they see he gets fired after, again, they play a pretty damn good game overall.
And suddenly, not only are you scapegoating the defensive coordinator, you're scapegoating the defense. Now they feel
100%.
like you scapegoated them.
100%. I mean, it doesn't make me want to like Shanahan.
Take your fucking L, dude. Just take your L.
And bend your hat.
Tip your cap.
Your L. Yeah, bend it a little. It's too flat.
Oh. I thought you were saying like tip your cap to like the Chiefs. You're saying bend your hat. I was like, is this a Rutherism? I think you mean tip your cap. You're saying bend your hat?
Yeah, bend your hat a little. It's too flat. Now, I see the comparison to Andy Reid, but this is not 3 blown Super Bowls.
Well, I mean, listen, the comparison to Andy Reid is just, that's why I said that's more to me a dig at Andy Reid than it is like a thing for Shanahan. Because if you get a generational quarterback, you're going to win. But I think that if you were going to talk about it, Andy Reid would never do that. Like Andy Reid, go back. I imagine the press conference after the Eagles lose a Super Bowl or the Eagles lose fucking 3 straight NFC Championship games, where it's like, I got to be better. I don't know that off the top of my head, but I got to imagine he didn't throw people under the bus. That doesn't seem like an Andy Reid thing to do.
Yeah. No, it doesn't.
He might have sacrificed his kids to the fucking, in human sacrifice, but he didn't throw his coordinators under the bus.
No. We actually have a call. Now that we're talking coaches, I'll just play this. We have an NFL coaching retread call.
Hey, fellas, this is number 1 DC Dirtball, Brian Roman. So now that the NFL's wrapped up and the vacant coaching positions have all filled out, I kind of need some help sorting out my feelings with the Dan Quinn hire here. Like, obviously, retread shouldn't be completely rejected, right? Like, otherwise we'd be missing out on the Reids and Belichick's. But then we've got the Goober, McCarthy's, and Rivera's who make you wonder, like, why would we ever want to consider going back to that same well, you know? Like, do you guys feel like that the decision to go with a disgraced coach is easier if they've had some time to step back from the role and, like, course correct? Like, essentially, like, someone who's been there before has learned some lessons, right? Like, when would you guys be okay with your team revisiting a coach that another team decided couldn't swing it? All right, thanks, boys. And condoms are for Ted Leonsis trying to move the Caps out of DC proper.
You know how I thought when he made his call? Talk about retreads, like when they should do it. Well, like Pete Carroll's an interesting example, right? He coaches the Jets in '94. They go 6-10, right? And then he doesn't he's not a head coach in the NFL or college. Then he goes to New England in '97. They go 10-6, 9-7, 8-8. So 2 playoffs appearances, 1 playoff win. Again, rehired. Then he is out of it for like a year or two. Then he goes to SC. Obviously, we know what he did at SC. And then he's retread again. We all know how that worked out in Seattle. But he also proved with USC.
He was a head coach.
Yeah, as a head coach. But even earlier with the Patriots, it's like he made the playoffs 2 out of 3 years. He then kind of, I don't know if you want to say the word regrouped, but it's like reset with USC.
I just think it's
between that and Mike McCarthy.
I just think it's as simple as we're talking about. It seems like there's there's different kinds of retreads. Harbaugh went back to college. Fucking Pete Carroll went back to college. They went head coaches again. Mike McCarthy was a head coach. He got fired. He had time off. He gets hired as a head coach. There was holes in what you would say was his sort of coaching resume as a head coach. Like, he leaves Green Bay because there's a falling out with the fucking team and they're not doing as much and they have Rodgers and blah, blah, blah. So like, I think you got to take all these things, but like Dan Quinn, for example, I know he goes to the Super Bowl, obviously, no doubt about it, he mismanaged the Super Bowl, right? Like, we can all agree on that. Like, he mismanaged the Super Bowl to the point where it's the greatest fucking comeback in history. He goes back to being a coordinator and he's good at it. Well, listen, the New York Giants right now are a team that has a coach that I like, right? But let's say this year, Brian Daboll has a bad season. And we decide let's say he goes 0-17. And we decide we're going to hire a new coach. I love Steve Spagnuolo. I don't want him to be the head coach of the Giants. I don't want a guy who had a head coaching career and it doesn't seem like that's what he's suited for. It seems like he's suited to be a defensive coordinator.
Yeah.
I don't want Steve Spagnuolo to come back and be the head coach of the New York Giants. I want Steve Spagnuolo to come back and be the fucking defensive coordinator of the New York Giants. Like, that to me is where Dan Quinn's at, where it's like he proved like what you need your coach to do. No one's sort of arguing that Kyle Shanahan isn't an incredible offensive mind, but we've now lost multiple Super Bowls. We've now blown multiple Super Bowl leads. We're like, maybe you might be good at running an offense. You might not be good at being the head coach of a football team. Dan Quinn might not be good at being a head coach of a football team. Steve Spagnuolo, fucking Jason Garrett, Bill O'Brien. Like, some people just, okay, you call good plays. You have a good defensive scheme. You have whatever. Being a head coach is way more than that. And listen, that's kind of like when you talk about retreads, like there's a lot of different kinds of retreads, but a guy that's moving up and down from defensive coordinator to head coach of a football team, it's like if Bill Belichick takes a job somewhere and Josh McDaniel goes and is offensive coordinator and they're great and somebody hires him to be the head coach of their football team, they should have their franchise removed.
Yeah. Certain people are better OCs, and then the going to college and coming back with Harbaugh or Carroll, I mean, that they're still a head coach, man. And they're still successful where they went. There's a huge difference. Yeah, I don't have much optimism with Dan Quinn. I mean, that was a shocking hire to me. That's straight out the old Washington playbook. Like, new owner, is it? That's something Dan Snyder would have done.
Yeah.
From his yacht in the middle of the Mediterranean. Weird, man. It's weird. I don't get it. But like, there's a lot of retreads, which I never understood.
And I think that those all have to be, those you have to consider them all as different things, because there's none of these people have necessarily done it it's impossible to do it the exact same way. I did this and then I retread, I went back down to this and then I came back up as this. Like, they all have to be looked at as, a fingerprint, everyone's different in some sort of way. Like, but to me, being a guy who's a great coordinator, not being able to hack it as a head coach, going back down to being a great coordinator, to me, it's like, I mean, Dan Quinn wasn't head coach of the Jets. That's a whole other thing. It's like, let's think about the situations that you were in. If Marvin Lewis had gotten another head coaching job, I would be like, okay, he brought the fucking Bengals to relevancy.
Yeah.
Pete Carroll went 6-10 for the Jets. That's fucking 12, and that's 12 wins with a fucking a decent franchise. Like, it's the goddamn Jets.
Yeah, for sure. You can be watching the NBA All-Star game this weekend, like the whole festivities.
I'm sure I'll tune in. I'm going to Vegas on Sunday for U2 at the Sphere. So I don't know how much of the game I'll watch on Sunday, but I'm sure I'll watch the festivities because I don't really have a whole lot planned the rest of the weekend.
So who's the reigning 3-point champ? I remember the slam dunk is what? McClung?
Yep.
Matt McClung.
Does he get an auto bid as defending champ? Does he get to do a Craig Hodges type of thing or no? He fucking should. Let me just say that right now. I have a feeling the answer is no.
I think he's competing.
Let's fucking go. And he's not on a team.
No, he's in the
G League?
Yeah, for the Magic.
Let's fucking go.
Let's see who we got. We got, Mac McClung, Jacob Toppin, Jaime Jaquez Jr., and Jaylen Brown. That's just those 4 guys.
4?
Yeah.
Wild.
And then 3-point. Who we got? Let's see here. 3-point contest. We got Malik Beasley, Jalen Brunson, Tyrese Halliburton, Damian Lillard, Lauri Markkanen, Donovan Mitchell, Karl Anthony Towns, and Trae Young.
Let's
and
go.
Dame was the champ last year.
All right. Let's go. A little Jalen Brunson, a little lefty action.
You think he fingers girls with the left or right hand?
I think he goes left. If he's left-handed.
Little offhand with the right.
With that like wrap that he wears. He does this after. Smells his.
You know, I just thought of something. Like, I don't know if we went through my history of finger banging, am I normally doing my strong hand or am I doing my offhand?
You don't know?
I don't know. I assume it'd be my strong hand, right? But
Left
it depends
side.
on where you're
Strong side.
But it depends on where you're sitting next to the girl.
Yeah, for sure.
That is peak off season. No NFL Ruther comment.
Honestly, I think we've got to clip it, put it on TikTok, and just watch fucking white girls' heads explode. Now, Andy, turn on the TikTok camera, as Bill Simmons would say. Turn on the TikTok camera. If you were fingering Taylor Swift in her private jet, which she's wasting more carbon than any other celebrity in the world, if you were up there just killing the environment with Taylor Swift, do you think you would finger Taylor Swift with your left hand or your right hand?
I'd probably use my toes with her. Joe knows this.
Not funny.
Joe knows my favorite memes are the. It's so dumb. The Taylor Swift jet memes, which are everywhere, especially on Instagram, are like some of my favorite ones because it just triggers so many people. And for the record, if I had that much money, I'd be flying a fucking jet everywhere too. I don't give a shit.
Right.
Like if I had that much money, I'd be like, yeah. Oh, like especially the ones of like her walking a dog with the jet make me laugh. They're so stupid. But I do love the people who are like, she has cats.
That's what I was just going to say. That's what I was just going to say.
Of course she does. Of course she has cats.
Andy, I don't know what I know you have some other things in the rundown, right? I don't know what you have on the rundown, but I just want to get some plugs in now because I feel like when we do them at the end of the show, people just have already turned it off. The night of February 29th, Leap Day, Hollywood Improv. I'm doing a night of sports comedy. Come out if you're in the Los Angeles area. Tickets are available now in the link tree in my Instagram bio. Follow me at Joe Praino on Instagram. Follow me at Joe Praino on TikTok. And come see a show specifically February 29th in the Hollywood Improv Lab, a night of sports comedy. I'll also be in Vegas at the end of March. I'll also be in Phoenix, Arizona, Scottsdale, Arizona at the end of March. I am officially going to be at New York Comedy Club, Stamford, Connecticut, April 25th. More shit to come, but just wanted to get those out now, especially for the Stamford show. My East Coast people, come out. That was a great show last year when I did it. And also, especially if you're in and around Southern California, make it a day. It's a free day. You're getting a free day this year. There will not be a February 29th to come to a show next year. Come this year to the Hollywood Improv Lab for a night of sports comedy.
We need more leap years, man. Why we do it every 4 years? What's up with that?
I don't know.
Is it the whole sun and moon and all that shit?
Yeah. I think it's the rotation around the sun. If we didn't have it, we would get off. We'd eventually get off kilter where summer was winter and winter was summer.
I'd be pissed if I was born on the leap year, man.
I'd be fucking stoked.
You only get to celebrate once every 4 years?
Dude, I'd be 11 years old.
Yeah, I never thought of it from that.
Yeah. We can't hire you. You're a straight white 40-something male. Actually, I'm 11, motherfucker. How dare you? Just me. Can you imagine just me on a fucking playing the 5 in a 12 and under youth basketball league, just absolutely fucking manhandling people, just Victor Wembanyamaing some fucking 11-year-olds. Get off of me.
Would you rather be born on leap year or Christmas?
Leap year. Who wants to be born on Christmas? Now you got a double gift.
That's a rough one too. I wouldn't want to be born. So I was born on Thanksgiving, so like every few years. But like, and that one's fine. But like, I wouldn't really want to be born on certain holidays.
I mean, obviously, I'm right after July 4th, which I love because it's like it takes, kind of all.
But you're after. That's what I'm saying. Yeah. If you were born, like, I wouldn't want to be born on July 4th. Takes away some of your thunder, man.
Yeah, but I don't. I guess I don't necessarily want the thunder. So that's
you gotta have the thunder.
That's kind of the bonus for me.
Like Isla was a day after Valentine's Day. And I'm always glad about that. I'm like, dude, Valentine's Day, she lose some steam, man. She was born a day earlier. She shouldn't get. She's already going to get something for Valentine's Day. Why not do back-to-back days? By the way, kids at 1 year old on their birthday don't know what the hell's going on. It's hilarious.
How would they?
I know. Tell me about it. It's like, I couldn't tell you. If you asked me, here's what's crazy. You and I went through and we remembered I remembered every Super Bowl since I started watching the Super Bowl at age 7. I couldn't tell you when I remembered like my first birthday, like birthday party or whatever.
It's one of my first memories in my life, I think so my brother, John, is June 30th. I am July 5th. So we're about a week apart. This is literally pre my sister arriving, who was June 12th. So then we're all like within 3 weeks of each other. And Mikey is like 9 months to the day from fucking New Year's because he's the fucking New Year's accident. But everybody else, very planned, seems very strategic to have everybody in the summer. When we were young kids, we essentially, we have a barbecue and it's like, it's John and Joey's birthday. So literally one of my first memories, I think, is me turning 4.
4.
Believe it's 4.
Okay.
Because Mikey was a baby still. I remember that. Like a baby.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like
it was either one of my earliest memories is either my 4th or 5th birthday, and I believe it's 4.
Did you see Rob Manfred's going to retire in 2029?
Hallelujah. And now he'll just pick some other C-League Manfred fucking yes boy to replace him. So it's
I don't know if baseball's going to exist in 2029.
How dare you, Andy?
I'm just saying, man. What a shit show. Like whatever they have going on with the streaming or lack thereof, or how to watch games, like these are basic things you need to figure out. Like people need to be able to watch games to then want to root, to cheer, to give money. Like if you can't watch games, which is a rudimentary problem that they have.
Yeah.
I'd argue
start the campaign now, Andy. Like, I don't know if the dirty sports will exist in 2029. So I would like to transition from this job into that job. I can save baseball. We have 5 years, guys. Let Praino commish. I certainly don't know if I'll be in comedy in 5 years. I need a next job.
What's the first thing you do as commissioner?
The first thing I do.
First 3 things you do.
Okay, these count as 1. Salary cap, salary floor.
Okay, I like it.
Salary cap, salary floor. I would put together a committee to determine a analytical price for figuring out, being able to plug in the median income of a city, the population of a city. I want an analytics department to tell me not what we can charge people to make the most money, but what can we charge people to get as many baseball fans as possible to the ballpark 4 times per year, minimum 4 times per year. I want to figure out a way to get people, even if it costs us money in the short term. I want to figure out how to get people to the ballpark more often, even if it's for less money. Even if those people come to the ballpark and end up spending $25 less to come to the ballpark 4 times than they would to come to the ballpark 1 time. I want to build a baseball fan base by making people come to the ballpark again. That is how you have to have a long-term strategy for fans. I like going to baseball games because I went to baseball games as a kid. If you take your kid to 1 baseball game a year, it does not make you want to be a baseball. It's just like it's like going to Disney World. It's like going to the water park. It's like going to whatever. I want to build a fan base for 25 years from now by having kids come to the ballpark 4 times a year now, so they want to take their kids to the ballpark 4 times a year when they're parents. So salary floor, salary cap, analytics, economic department to get people to come to the ballpark repeatedly, and probably take down the fucking Nets.
Yes, the Nets.
The Nets go to the end of the dugout, and that's it. Or if you're willing to spend the money to have nets that go up and down for pregame and postgame, kids once again get to line the fucking baselines at batting practice to have an interaction, so that when you go to the games 4 times a year, you get to talk to fucking Francisco Lindor. You get to talk to Anthony Rizzo. You get to fucking talk to Shohei Ohtani. You get to get a ball from these kids. You get to get an autograph. You get to do all the things that kids used to do at ballparks that made kids want to go to the fucking ballpark.
Yeah, definitely have to go more than once a year to create some fandom. That's huge. It's very important. Gotta go 4 or 5 games a year.
There's Disney adults. You know, there's people who could take their kids to fucking Disney 20 times. They get the season pass.
Yeah.
It's way more expensive.
Aaron and his wife. do
Yeah.
that. He grown ass man.
I will lose money in the short term, because you're talking about baseball might not exist. I think you're absolutely right. I think that these owners are trying to squeeze every dollar they can out of people, even if it ends up costing them their fucking entire sports league. I don't want to squeeze money out of you. I'll take your money slowly.
So the problem is, I would argue, the big problem too is football and basketball are such good sports to watch on television. And someone like me says baseball is boring to watch on television versus going there. Where conversely, when you ask me about going to an NFL game, I'm like, maybe one a year.
Right.
Because I'm like, dude, there's wasted people, fights. I'm not bringing my kids there.
That's what we have to lean into.
That's what
we
I'm
have
saying.
to lean into. The people who do watch baseball on TV are the people who are going to the ballpark.
Yeah.
And now they're like, this is in the bridge in between. I got to know what's going on with my team, because I'm going to go and see them 8 times a year. I'm going to travel to see them, blah, 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 blah. I might even do some sort of MLB rewards program
Ooh.
If you show me that you've gone to the ballpark. Now there's another tier. What if you show me that you've gone to at least 2 other stadiums this year besides your home ballpark and you went to 6 games? Here's 12. If you go, if you're a young family, if you take your son, if you're your dad and you live in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, and you take your son to 6 Phillies games this year and you attend 2 other ballparks, you go to Baltimore and you go to DC, easy rides. Next year, you get a pair of tickets to 12 Phillies games from us. It's the beer buyback. Remember, you go to bars, you buy 2 beers, you get a third one. You're like, I like this place.
Oh yeah.
And then you're coming back. And then all of a sudden, you're a loyal customer. Now, all of a sudden, there's like a regular. Find me a bar where there's like regulars. Because bars don't give a shit either about a connection with people. Give us your money. Get the fuck out. Dude, there's not a bar I stand for anymore. There's 12 bars in New York I stand for because those are places that have been there so long. They do it the same way. Baseball needs to be a fucking, you need to feel it. You need to smell it. You need to taste it.
And rewards, man. That's why I love signing up for rewards in places. I'm like the king of that shit.
It's a lose money now, make money long term. You need to build. You need baseball fans to reproduce more baseball fans.
And here's one for you. When you have a rewards system, you get bonus points if you get the helmet nachos. Majid will clean house. You order one of them $30 Los Angeles Dodger helmet nachos. Maybe get you some free.
I would like to say, as MLB commissioner, if you can show me your empty nacho helmet from every ballpark in Major League Baseball, you get free tickets to your home team for life. All you got to do is go to every single stadium in Major League Baseball and come home with a nacho helmet.
Is it helmet nachos or nacho helmet?
Helmet nachos, nacho helmet. I think pool or pond.
Man, who gets the helmet nachos? Who does that?
Michael Majid.
That's a decision I would make if I was under the influence of one of them 2.5 milligram seltzer margaritas. Little THC in me. Oh yeah.
You give me one THC margarita and I'll eat some nachos.
I gotta make a confession, man. And this goes back to New Orleans. Speaking of THC. I don't know why. Watching the baby monitor when you're high is the funniest fucking thing ever. Do you remember me and you doing that?
Yeah.
Like watching how Isla sleeps. I don't know why. Most parents are like watching it panicking. Stoned watching the baby monitor is so funny for some reason. Like, oh shit, look how she's sleeping now. She's all like this. Look at she moved.
This bitch is sideways.
Oh, this bitch turned around. Check the monitor. Praino, I know it's a short show, but I think we should keep it short because
Friday.
It's Friday. I think it's snowing outside. We all know I drive a little, as my brothers call it, the condomobile, the tampon. None of it, whatever you want to call my little Corolla hatch. It doesn't do well in the snow, and I got to pick up a child, so probably don't want that to accumulate.
Get out there and get Isla. And we'll talk on Monday. I'll be in Vegas on Monday, so we'll be coming to you live from. How about this one for you, Andy? The Sahara.
Ooh, I think they knocked it down and rebuilt it.
They did. They
no,
did.
no roller coaster anymore.
No. So I've never been to this new Sahara. But I'll be staying there Sunday night and Monday night. It was that or Treasure Island. Treasure Island's right across the street from the Venetian, which is where the Sphere is behind the Venetian. My friend's staying at the Wynn. I did it on Hotel Tonight. Shout out to Hotel Tonight if you guys want to sponsor the pod. I did it on Hotel Tonight, and there was hella good deals. And I'd been in the old Sahara, but I was like, "Ooh, that's interesting." The new
You know who was the staple at the old Sahara? Like when I lived in Las Vegas.
Who's that?
Rest in peace, the amazing Jonathan.
Wow,
He was the main headliner at the old Sahara.
that's crazy.
Yeah, my little brother stayed there once.
Well,
Can't wait to hear how it is.
I'll be down there Sunday and Monday, so I'll drive down Sunday and I'll drive back Tuesday. If any dirt balls are in Vegas, hit me up. I'll be at the Sphere on Sunday night. See the U2 experience. I don't really have plans for Monday night, so yeah. If anybody got anything going on, let me know. Maybe play some golf. Probably bring my clubs when you're driving. Just bring the clubs. Put it in the new whip.
You got a new whip?
I did. Did I not tell you that?
No.
Yeah. I got myself a Mazda CX-5 Carbon Edition. Got myself an SUV. Great in the snow. Took it up to Tahoe, all-wheel drive.
Look at you.
Yeah.
I bet that's a nice little car.
Yeah. I'd been in a buddy's like a couple years ago now. I was like, "What is this?" He's like, "The Mazda." I was like, "I like this." And this isn't to toot my own horn because listen, it's not like I bought a fucking Mercedes, but I was like, my brother drove like a Mercedes SUV. I was like, it's kind of like when you're in it, kind of feels like a Mercedes like SUV. Yeah. And then he's like, "Yeah, well, it's way cheaper." And then after I was like, I really like this fucking car. How cheap is it? Looked into it, and there you go. Ended up pulling the trigger on one a couple months ago.
That's great, man.
Yep.
Well, enjoy that trip. We're gonna have a little birthday bash for baby girl tomorrow. Bam's coming over, so that'll be fun.
Hell yeah.
And
happy birthday to Isla. Happy one.
Yeah, thanks. It goes by quickly, man. It's crazy. Here's what I'll say about kids. I was telling my buddy this. I said, if you look at the evolution of a kid within their first year, try to imagine that an adult.
Yeah.
Like she was dark-skinned, dark hair, dark eyes. I was like, imagine if like take me.
You said this last episode.
Did I?
Yeah.
Fucking A. God, I'm getting old. I just can't get over that. Like, if in a year, suddenly I changed that much. I said that last episode?
Yeah.
God damn. Pathetic. Gotta lay off the margarita 2.5 milligrams, son.
You give me one margarita, I forget what I said. You give me 2 margaritas, I'll give you some head.
Give us a ring, 310-359-8365. We'll be back on Monday. We'll get back on schedule. You guys have a great weekend. And as always, stay dirty.